What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? AJ Good here at the House of Masks, and as you guys probably remember from a video or two ago, I unboxed this fake Distortions Unlimited Herbie head, or Fresh Death, or whatever you want to call it, and today we are going to be converting it into the version that I saw Buckethead use in 2016 when I saw him in concert. So in order to do that, we pretty much just need to beat the shit out of it. Buckethead's real version of this Herbie was actually a true vintage Distortions Unlimited fresh head. This is actually like a recast, or some other company got a hold of the molds and started making their own versions of it. From what I can tell, it is from the same mold. I just don't want to destroy an actual vintage Distortions Unlimited head, so I picked up this cheap copy that came from the same mold or whatever. To convert this, it's going to be pretty simple. It's probably just going to take some time. We need to remove the hair. I'm going to have to give it a slight repaint, and then we are going to have to rip all of the foam out of the inside because Buckets had zero foam in it, and it was pretty much just like a loose piece of latex on his hand. So I guess the first thing that we're going to do is rip the hair off. Okay, now we have this weird bald Donald Trump look-alike. I guess the easiest way to do this would be to start with the repaint. That way I'm not trying to paint a flimsy piece of rubber and actually have something somewhat sturdy before we rip the foam out. So I'm going to be using some gray acrylic paint, trying to make it as translucent as possible and just kind of painting over the entire head. Buckethead's was pretty rough, and it looks like it just had lost paint and it had worn off over time. So I'm going to try to keep it gray like my original. Right here, as you can see, there's some slight yellow undertones there, and I think that if we keep this original paint job and just go over it in the areas that we need to, it should look the way that it is supposed to. So we'll step into a time lapse of me painting over this, and when we're done, we will go ahead and start removing the foam. Alright, so we've got them all based out here. I think the gray is a nice translucent gray. You can still see a lot of the yellow coming through. I'm going to go through and do some details like the teeth. As you can see on Bucketheads, they almost appear to be black right there around the gums. And then he's got these really weird painted on eyes, like over the closed eyes. So I'm going to go ahead and knock those out as well, and then we will get to the foam issue. Okay, so while I let the first layer of white paint dry, because I do think that it's going to need a second one, it just looks a little too transparent, and I think that they need to stand out a little more, I'm actually going to do something that me and Kate discussed. Buckethead's copy looks very old and dingy and dusty and almost powdery, so we decided that we could put some sort of talcum powder on, like with the dry brushing. I think I'm going to go over a lot of the grays with some Johnson's baby powder. You can use talcum powder or even flour if you want to. But at least it's going to smell good if I use baby powder, and that's all I have, so I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick while the white dries, and then we will get on to adding the pupils, filling in the nostrils, and then finally getting to remove all the foam so it starts to lose shape, because Buckethead's is saggy and weird looking, so. That is the weirdest shit I've ever experienced. Let's try that again. Okay, so the entire paint job is completed. We got those goofy ass eyes on there, and now it is time to hit it from the back. And we are going to be removing all of this foam from the inside and kind of making the prop itself lose shape, because Buckethead removed all of the foam out of his. Whether it was on purpose or the stuff just came out after being used night after night, I don't know. But I'm going to do it the way that I imagine he would do it, and that's just by yanking chunks out and seeing where that takes us. Alright, so the foam has been removed. I took about as much out as I thought I needed to. Seems like the neck on his stays pretty well intact, so if I had to guess, there's probably still foam in there. So I left some right around the base, but I removed it all from the face area, and now we have a nice, very pliable severed head prop. So once I get it to stick the way that I want it to, I'm going to go ahead and add it to the Buckethead life-size display in there. So I guess the next clip that you're going to see is Buckethead holding this, and I think that that is a completion. I'm definitely stoked with how it came out. Definitely a weird, goofy prop that Buckethead used, and I guess if there was going to be a Herbie substitution for the real Herbie, this one is probably the coolest, so. guys, that is going to be it for this video. We hope that you guys enjoyed it, and we will see you later.